And here's the last one there's a video hint for, number 4. So here I have something interesting, which is I don't have a trinomial, I don't have 3 terms. So we'll see what happens with that. But I do notice that there's a 10 on both of these. So for sure, my greatest common factor, what can both 10 and 10 be divided by? Well, both 10 and 10 can be divided by 10. And then with regards to the variables, there's 4 x's over here and 2 x's right there. So I notice they have 2 x's in common. So my greatest common factor is 10x squared. So I'm going to pull out my 10x squared. Okay, now first, 10x squared times what is 10x to the 4th? Well, 10 times 1 is 10, so I'm not even going to write it. Here I already have 2 x's being multiplied, right? I already have these 2 x's being multiplied. And so now I need to multiply by 2 more x's in order to have 10x squared. Now I need to multiply 10x squared and get minus 10x squared. So I'm going to put my minus sign. And what's interesting here is that this 10x squared and this 10x squared, those are the same number. So how can I multiply this by something and end up with the same thing? Well, I can multiply it by 1. Okay, so I end up with this funny situation, right, where I have x squared minus 1. And you might think, well, okay, I guess I'm just done because there's nothing else to factor out. But in fact, we remember when we see something like this, we called it difference of squares. Okay, you can go back to your notes. It's called difference of squares. But I can factor this because this right here is the same as x squared plus 0x minus 1. So I'm looking for 2 numbers that add to 0 and multiply to negative 1. Okay, so let's do it. I'm going to bring down 10x squared. I'm going to set up my 2 parentheses. What numbers add to 0 and multiply to negative 1? Okay, well, only one pair of numbers multiplies to 1, so that's going to be 1 and 1. And one of them has to be negative in order for them to multiply to negative 1. And then do those add to 0? Yep, they sure do. That's 1 minus 1. And here is my answer.